And we're back. We're back. We're back.
Yes.
I like how you picked up right away. Like you're like, oh, it's time to go. It's time to go. We're right back in person, and now we got a better camera angle. Hopefully, something that we're working with, trying new things.
Let's man.
Keeping it going. Yeah, here we are, man. The manuscript. Yeah, now you go. Now it works. I think now good, man. Now we're back again. The manuscript. This time again, we're like, just another new camera angle. It's Friday.
Yeah.
I'm on vacation now.
You heard?
For about some good time for the summer. So a good way to kick it off. Rob, we made it happen. Thank you for coming through.
Love,
so I want to thank Rob because he did hold me accountable last time. He was like, he's like, we really gonna do it Friday though, or is it like a Friday maybe? And so it's like, nah, man. This is the time to grind, I think, but also relax. So I'm trying to, make sure I'm still keeping myself to my mission and stuff that I am my word, obviously, and things that I'm doing. But plus, because I know when we have these conversations and we put it on a platform like YouTube and the manuscript, I know it's important, and we want to keep the mission going. So
yeah, man.
Happy to be here, man. Happy to even do this, and just get to recording more history, man, of us having these conversations. But
yeah, love. We had to do it again because y'all were with us. Excuse me. We were talking transports. Is that wrong to call it last time? That's what we was doing last time. That's what.
Well, you
that's what we was talking about last time. We was just like,
we were talking about a lot. We were talking about a lot.
That's how we ended it, right? I mean, y'all the viewers, y'all was watching,
We here.
Still up. That day, matter of fact, Monday we put up episode 5, so y'all can check that out.
Yes. Shout out to Rob again for putting the videos together. You know what I'm saying? Because it takes a lot to do this. You know what I mean? And we're only scratching the surface, but
yeah. So we have to come back to y'all.
Mr. Hegan.
Gang. Yeah, shout out to everybody who graduated. Elias graduating.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean,
man.
When I hear that, shout out to all y'all graduated.
That's
yeah, man. Oh, you say you're not the only one who's free.
That's right. I'm not the only one that's free.
He's gone. His kids is gone. They on to new ventures. God bless y'all. Hope y'all do well.
For sure.
Stay focused. Meet new people. You know what I'm saying? Stay open.
And there's a bunch of graduations, right, happening all at the same time, right? You got the kindergartners graduating, got the elementary to middle school, the middle school to high school, you got the high school to college, you got the college to life.
I would just say every opportunity is about staying open. Stay open to the opportunities in front of you. Don't get closed off to the things that you know, thinking that the change is not going to be the same. Don't compare. It robs the joy.
Yeah, man.
All those good things, and keep having fun.
Yeah, graduation season is definitely upon us. And now, again, with that comes the summertime. And so, and June, more importantly, coming to a close, which, going back to really referencing our last show, which we did earlier in the week, we got into a long conversation, really. So this is just an extension of it, definitely a lot more impromptu. But it's an extension of the conversation you and I were having Monday that revolved around a lot. It for sure started with talking about June being Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. June also being, I think, especially here in the United States, largely known for Pride Month as well. And so then we got into conversations about really, you're just gonna have to tune in because we covered a lot. Definitely going back to just covering the themes of homophobia, even our boundaries, with consent, being judged and treated differently because of your identity. So we went through all that, really sparked by, I think, the new rule, which the new ban that just passed in Nassau County, which you put me on to. So banning transgender athletes from participating in the sports of their preference. So that sprung Rob brought that to the table. I didn't know about it, so now I started looking into it a lot more because it happened here in New York City. Here in New York State, not the city. But definitely good to be informed of. And so we just got off into the conversation about specifically again, not only homophobia, transphobia, making sense of it as we continue to evolve our interactions, specifically as men. Talk about a lot of the discomforts that us as men we've been taught to have around the LGBTQ community, and so going back to addressing like some of the ways we hide from having these conversations, hide from like stepping outside our comfort zones, to even engage a conversation about same-sex marriages, same-sex love, etc. So, but we also had on our docket like not only just talking about those issues in particular, but again going back to men's mental health, we wanted to talk about, of course, the stuff that happens during the month of June as well that does pertain to us as men, which is like Father's Day, being a day that's celebrated here in June. And so we're gonna go back into a little bit of that. I think we have some thoughts we wanted to share with each other around Father's Day. We talked about, I think on our notes I saw we were wrapping up the Kendrick Lamar and Drake.
Oh wow, yes, you had something you wanted to share that you said you fell upon.
But it was
that
real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was shocked. I didn't know about that take.
Okay.
That it was like.
So we can go back to that one.
Hypocritical.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the way that
Kendrick Lamar's performance.
So
we'll go back to that and to address it, and then
that was quite interesting. I told you about Matthew Stafford's wife.
Yes, we so more in the sports world, music world.
We just jump on her right now, bro. Jump into right now. Because I want to say first and foremost, I know we all know Bronny James got drafted, LA Lakers. Congratulations to a young man right there. You know, a lot of people have mixed feelings. I think we're, on the same page about just congratulating him, thinking that it's a good thing,
Yeah, absolutely, man. We agreed on that.
I find it weird, the people who find it to be like, they want to talk about nepotism and compare him to anyone else who is worthy. There's a bunch of other people besides the two people that you think are better than Bronny James. A lot of people fight for these spots, and I just think it's like America not used to having a father. That's how I viewed it. When I thought about how many jobs my father got me, and I didn't, what I'm saying, I'm not gonna, you ask yourself, I'm not gonna tell you my number, but Bronny got a job. It was less than, I got less than that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm saying that's a great thing. It's like, my goodness, you looked out for him.
You brought that up,
I don't know if I feel like so many people would have liked to make that promise, but there's so many ways that it could not go. Like
so many fathers would like to make that promise specifically. I think also I would add, And
it's like there's so many avenues that could go where that one person is like, no, I don't want this to happen, and it don't go that way. But to say that you actually came through for your child and you made it happen, made their dream come true, assuming that's their dream, that's I can only congratulate that. I think that's dope.
Yeah, man. And I so I watched the draft the first night. Because of like the way the day went, I just like kind of lost.
Oh, track,
so that's what y'all told me.
Saw the first round.
I only saw the first round, and he wasn't drafted. But already there was talk about him getting drafted and whatnot. So I do, because when I first initially was told, I didn't have no like immediate thoughts on it. I kind of saw it as like, oh well, of course that's gonna happen. It's LeBron James. Like,
which is crazy. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's amazing.
But it's like not even hating. Like, you know what I mean? Like, of course, it's
such a powerful thing.
But then you brought up the point of earlier before we got on. I feel like that's a father, getting his son a job.
That's beautiful.
And it is interesting to see, because again, I do. There are a couple of things that I did think about as far as like even with, going back to like Jordan's sons, right? How much pressure is gotta be though to like really like live up to such a name. I mean, dogs is really like we're saying there's only one LeBron.
Right.
So his son is not. If we're saying that, then that we know that his son is not going to be him. So the thing is that his son is either even historically is going to get close to him, or surpass him, or not even be anywhere near.
Those are two different fathers you can see, right? Like I could see Jordan wasn't about to make it easy for his son to get in the NBA. Not to say that LeBron did, but I just imagine something my spirit tells me he tried.
Jordan didn't seem like a family man.
You know what I mean? Like, no, not in that sense.
I
did it this because my father's like that. Like, oh, this happened. It was like this for me. Well, I gotta make it like that for you. Like, no, I went through it like this. Why? Like,
but Rob, I do think
why make it easier for you?
That is the larger. Which actually, another thing we gonna get into is this article talking about the state of American men as it relates to our mental health.
Right.
But one of the things that's fascinating about even that like culture of like all do it yourself is that, at least from my experience, that seems to mostly still be a sentiment that's like carried by people without money. You know what I mean? Like No, well, because even the parents that I do know who have money to give their kids,
they give them.
I see them talk to their kids a good game, but then they at the end of the day still have the bread and they give them everything.
Interesting.
You know, or if not everything, at least make sure they are good. So whether that is paying for significant, like, you know, life-changing things, whether that's a car, whether that's for, I've seen it being done for a marriage, paying for your wedding, like, right, like, I've seen parents with money still give their kids, even those that talk hard on their kids. I'm sure there are strict parents who have money and don't give their kids stuff, but if we're considering a father,
you making me laugh because I'm like, nah, I'm like,
but if we're considering,
but then when you think, no, they're not broke, but like, no, that's just assholes.
That's their attitude because they can't give it, and they really can't give it because they really don't got it. So it's better to tell you, nah, well, I got myself up from my bootstraps, so you should be able to do the same. But that's because you really don't got it like that. So it's like, but if you make me feel like I got to do something about it, then, you know. But yeah, that's what sucks, and that's what comes up for me. I'm like, because I've seen that happen. I've been told that, but again, it's usually from people without money. It's like, because if you really got it, like, and then on top of that, LeBron, at least from what we seen him as a public figure, he seems to be a present dad, you know?
Right.
So I'd imagine present dad will be a giving dad.
Right.
Whether he's strict with him is one thing. Man.
What happened? Does that make it freeze?
Yeah, because I'm using my phone.
Oh, I heard you.
Hello?
But now it's back? So it's good.
Hello? Oh, snap. I forgot my phone don't work.
But now it's good.
I forgot this phone don't work. She's going to call me back.
We live, people. We live. You know how it is. We know how to act. Like, not like Paul Pierce out here.
Paul Pierce.
Shout out to Paul Pierce.
Yo, Paul Pierce, man.
I just saw that clip again. His first live with Kevin Garnett. His first live with Kevin Garnett, where he was just like talking about, I think it was pandemic, something about how he paid for a girlfriend type shit. Oh man, reckless. So yo, boy, don't make me smack you. The shit, I think it was a lighter. It came from this way. He saw it, and he told this dude, "I'm gonna smack you." I looked back and I was like, "That's mad funny." That shit came all the way from left.
Just want to make sure we're good.
Yeah.
Messing up. But let me see what they say. Yeah. So I lost my train of thought, obviously, but we were definitely talking about dads and LeBron and like, again, the idea that like, even going back to Jordan not being easy on his sons, but we talked
saying
about
that was an old idea, come from people who,
right, because again, we did say that doesn't Jordan's son at least have a stake in the company? Because him being a real like stingy dad, then it's like, well, you're not even gonna get like become your own CEO.
He had to kill somebody for that spot. I heard that's the rumor.
Imagine.
You don't see the other brother anymore. Imagine.
That's funny. So I never knocked that idea. Like, well, I would not knock the idea of a father being able to provide something for their dad. I mean, if we're gonna get mad at LeBron, then we gotta get mad at the whole system and it being designed that way. Because if we're being for real, like, I've seen it. I definitely worked for my credentials, so quote unquote, like going to school or whatever, getting my degrees. But I also see how much more powerful it's been, even in the adult world, when it comes to like working. How much more powerful it's been to just know somebody. You know what I mean? Like, and I would say it's been more often than not the people around me on a professional level that's gotten positions of employment was due to likely because so and so put them on versus like, oh nah, I'm from holding, you know what I'm saying? I just sent them my resume. I looked online, I saw y'all needed people, I put in my resume, and like I just got the job. Right. The person who got the job is usually like, well, so and so. Yeah,
I'm hoping for that this Monday, y'all. Pray for me.
Yeah,
man. Try to give me some money.
For sure. So it's like, I'm not gonna get mad at LeBron for doing that. You know what I mean? It's because then I gotta get mad at the larger system of like jobs and job structures and, you know, nepotism.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen that. I think Woj also got on. There's a clip going around of him at ESPN where he also addresses this idea that like what LeBron
that always exists.
Crazy. Yeah. He went through the list. He went through the list.
Yeah, he's not wrong. He's not wrong about it.
But I guess LeBron James gets like a good, you know. I hope he got some gifts for Father's Day.
Yeah. Right.
What do you think? You think he got some gifts, or you think he didn't get? I mean,
true,
come on,
bro.
man. He made his. You know what I'm saying? Got his son to the NBA.
I mean, it's crazy because I'm like, I like gifts, but if you didn't get me one, I would just think like that's a gift right there, you know, like being able to see that, you know what I mean?
For sure.
That's fire.
I'm pretty sure they were present.
For
sure. Hopefully again.
Like you
hopefully.
better.
You never know
me,
these celebrities' lives and stuff like that.
I want my son's jersey. I want his,
listen,
you know.
Listen. So he gets father. I'm pretty sure at the household.
Right, father of the year for this year, maybe. You know
I mean,
listen,
listen.
like, come on, like.
You get your son to get drafted. I mean, and
is that the standard now? Is that what we're trying to do now? People are like trying to have babies at 18, to trying to get into the NBA.
Can you imagine?
And try to like, I want to play with my baby in the NBA.
I mean, that would be such like far ahead thinking. Imagine to be an 18-year-old to say like, yo, I'm gonna play for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make sure I get to year 22 to play with my son, who's gonna be.
Yeah.
That means you're gonna have to search out and try to impregnate, like, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna look.
Not gonna be crazy hard to be an NBA player, right? Find someone to impregnate, but
well, yeah, that.
You want a happy marriage,
right? Well, that'd be fun.
Now I gotta go and search him.
I mean, I mean, the hard part is making sure you have a son.
Yeah, imagine that.
Fuck around, end up with 7
strikeouts,
7 daughters,
right.
Looking for one son to get to the NBA. So that'd be a little crazy. Although I mean, hey,
see, that's whack too.
They
because
wouldn't be the first
you're not
NBA
even
player
thinking about the WNBA.
Mothers.
Have all these WNBA player girls, all your girls. See what I'm saying? Like,
is that you can't play with them.
And this is what we was talking about last time about. See, this is what we was talking about last time. Nah, fuck with you. I know you're saying let them all play. You know, I saw this video recently of this
about like
girl.
equality and letting them. Yeah.
No, but this little girl was whooping this kid's ass. Like it was two chinos, and they were just like fighting, a boy and a girl. And she was quick, man. She was going at it. Funny enough, she bled first. She was bleeding. They stopped it, but it really did look like she was whooping his ass until you see blood, and you're like, oh, Benito, damn, stop. You know? And then it wasn't.
That's crazy. That popped up in your algorithm. That's fire. Because what popped up in my algorithm was a clip of like an older woman. Like they said she was like in her late 30s, balling out against like younger men who looked like they were in their 20s,
nice.
And she was cooking them. Granted, she was taller than them, and I mean, in a couple of matchups they were like similar height, but she was kind of taller than them. But still, she was like cooking them, getting rebounds over them, just showing more energy, more hustle, more like. And they was like, look at this 30-something-year-old woman. They were saying she's 38. I'm like, But
right, 38 is different, right? 30-something.
30-something. Could be 33 or 38, not 33.
Yeah, 38, you better say 40. Might as well. Like, come on, like, stop playing yourself. I know what I know.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. So we came across some examples of, like, again, what we were talking about earlier in the week. You know, it's really like, and I thought about it again just because, like, how are we really, you know, am I really ready for that? You know what I'm saying? Am I really ready to see a heavyweight match between a woman stepping into the ring who would step in with a, you know what I mean, a heavyweight man? Again, I would like to assume.
I like to see women and fight each other. Like, that's what I'm saying. Competition is.
We gotta challenge ourselves.
That's
what
is idea
bigger?
Of war. Like when I wanted to be better than you, bigger than you, we went to war. But if we were friendly competitors, and I'm competing against you, we're competitors.
Yeah,
that's what competing.
But you should do that across all humans.
There has to be a commonality.
Though?
I feel like,
but when a sport again,
if a man just looks at a woman and what if a gay man looked at a woman and he was jealous because she got that man is mad cute, like why she get all these cute ass boyfriends, like, and now he wants to destroy all her relationships, like,
which does happen probably.
I'm saying random scenario, but I'm just like, it doesn't make no sense, bro. It's greed. You don't even think like.
Well, but that happens now, though, Rob. Again, like we got examples of people with sports, you know, and in all facets of life. I think, you know,
I'd rather the men, us hetero men, learn how to be comfortable with a trans man. Trans man, or just even a trans woman. You can still compete here. You can be a trans woman, but let's be comfortable.
But again, it does change things because you have to. There
are
hormonal differences once you go through the process. So you know things do change. Right. Inside, you're not. Still
I wonder
a man.
if they can still compete. I mean, if you got the nerve to go compete against women, You could compete. Why not? You're not gonna compete against.
That's why my push is like we just stop separating sports, man. We make sports mixed gender.
That's what I'm saying. That person actually that someone actually went in and boxed against a woman, and hurt them, like. Right?
Let them do it.
I forgot their name.
Tennis used to do it. I forgot to say it as well. They used to call it the Battle of the Sexes, but I forgot why they stopped. But they used to put the top tennis player, women's and men's together.
That's crazy.
Damn. Oh, it's on my phone. My phone's being used because I did save. No, it's being used. It's whatever.
Right.
I was gonna save the article for you to show you, like, oh shit, it did happen. I forgot that they used to compete, and then I forgot why they cut it off.
Battle of the Sexes.
Yeah. Look, man, it happened, and it describes the various exhibition matches played between a man and a woman, or doubles match between two men and two women in one case.
All right.
So it happened is used famously for internationally televised match in 1973 in the Astrodome between 55-year-old Bobby Riggs and 29-year-old Billie Jean King. King won in 3 sets.
Billie Jean is not my lover.
The match was viewed by an estimated 50 million people and 90 million worldwide.
That's crazy.
King's win is considered a milestone in public acceptance of women's tennis. 2 other commonly referred to as Battle of the Sexes include...
That was that movie, wasn't it?
And there was another one that happened in 1992 with hybrid rules favoring the female player.
With Steve Carell, I think. Interesting.
That's interesting. But they had in the 1992 version of this tennis matches, the man won, which was Jimmy Connors. So it says at least 8 other exhibition matches have been played between notable male and female tennis players starting in 1888. Wow. When I got a bottle, it says 1888.
Wow.
Some of them were referred to as Battle of the Sexes. I'm trying to see if there's anything here. I'm on Wikipedia, so it's not even too hard to find. I was just trying to see if, like, why they stopped it.
Well, I mean, here I found an article in 2012. But let's see.
See what one guy said against playing Serena. He said the big difference was that men can chase down shots much more easily and put spin on the ball that female players could not handle. So again, listen. I still tend to think, and my argument will still be, that we have a head start when it comes to sports. Because again, from the moment we're born, it's kind of like put in our faces. For women to join sports, they either have to. It's like they have to seek it more, because socially, that's not what is promoted first. And then when you consider when you look at the balance between the resources that male sports get, men's sports get versus women's sports, it's like.
I think that's the
widest gap ever, man.
Important thing to focus on.
So that Serena actually did do a match against a male player and lost badly.
6-1.
Okay, what does that prove for the moment? That can't prove that all men can be all women.
And he ranked 203.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to tell you, it's not we've seen this already before.
But
and
again,
we're talking
my
about
argument
swimming.
is, so then, so
and
let's look at.
You see, people are just forget.
But
fast.
we gotta dig in deeper.
They're gonna talk
my
about
argument
it in racquetball.
And what was his? Let's look at their upbringing then.
He never won a Master Cup. Well, look.
But let's look at their upbringing to see what were the resources around him and what facilities were available to him to practice in, to own his skills in, versus the ones that were available to Venus and Serena. Or let's just, because he played both of them. So. Again, I think if we are to make a difference, it has to start now, so when it comes to like the younger level of sports, right? So really at the T-ball level, I think then you start creating leagues that are purposely mixed gender, and you keep it that way. and then you try to really develop those leagues and let it be a thing. Stop separating students by the time, and usually I say students because I see this mostly in schools.
Right.
But separating young folks and create more leagues that are recognizing like mixed gender participants.
Right.
Again, it does happen now. I believe like beach volleyball is one where that might exist,
I feel
where
like
players are mixed.
They have both. You have the men,
but they also have
women,
both.
And
Right,
and
and the mix, yeah. So, but I'm thinking like then allowing that.
That's cool, yeah.
Because again, what I would hope that happens is that then in general, also that I think for young men also it would just stop that stereotype and stop. I would hope that it alleviates some insecurities around like, dog, you don't have to just always fight to be the best in the court. Just work on your skill, and wherever your skill is, you'll be great.
Right.
You know, because I think young men, unfortunately, we are pushed to be competitive, but then very nasty to each other most of the time in our competitiveness. Like,
and
right,
there is
getting
so
in your
much
face,
ego.
and
It's just selfish. It's just
and I know
ego.
we call it like competitiveness, but I'm like, yeah, but I seen that get too far. Like people do really sometimes get
Right.
borderline disrespectful, and you're like supposed to just take it. But it's
Right.
like, how is that good to anybody's development? And it's different if you're
yeah.
adults. But I've seen this happen very young. You know, young kids where the nicest kids sometimes talk really nasty to the kid that's not so nice.
Right.
So they might give up on the sport. Like, you know what? I'm just not even gonna play this no more because like I'm clearly not good. So I think the pressure that sometimes as young man. I mean, I remember in sometimes in my experience, right? Like, if I play basketball and I call next and it's packed and I didn't do so well, it's like, you know, you gotta get your ass out the court. That's it. Like,
right.
You know, no.
I never even tried, honestly. I always balled alone. Like I always played alone because I hated just there's no camaraderie. If I don't know you, then it's like, you know what I'm saying? That's like I owe you something. I got to prove something to you. You don't play ball. You can't have a bad day. Niggas is rude. It's just crazy. And then we about to lose our lives now, right now. We like 16. We 13. Got to get disrespectful now. I got to watch my back now from the right. You know what I mean? What are we really talking about? I'm good.
So that's what I would hope to see, man, in terms of, because I think that's changing. That's why I was listening to the 7 p.m. in Brooklyn recently. I caught their episode with Andre Iguodala, and there was a segment there where Melo talked about how
the team players getting together.
Yeah, and like being more, and like how unity is something that he sought out, Andre Iguodala sought out, but that they feel like there's forces conspiring against them to be able to do so. Mainly the media, who loves to push this narrative that, oh, NBA players are soft because they're too friendly to each other. And they need to like be against each other, and they need to like hate, you know, like he even talked about having experiences where he's gone to teams that said like, yo, our policy is that you don't talk to these players, like, and he's like, but that's my man's, like, yeah, I'm gonna talk to him, and I'm gonna be able to talk shit on the court, don't get it twisted, but that's my man's. I'm not gonna not go up to him, wish him a good game, tell him, you know. So I was like, wow, I didn't consider that that piece of information that exists, but
from the top down.
Yeah, man,
bro.
from the top down, you know, when you see how like, man, this is still pushed to these grown men who are trying to be different, who are trying to create a different environment, if so for themselves, because I think what I took out of it is that like Melo and Iguodala recognize like the strength and unity, especially as men. We could get a lot more done if we are unified and we're not hating each other for like small or big competitive differences. But again, we're socialized to be that way, man, and I think everything is not, you know, you're too cool to give it up, and like you said, ego, man, a lot of times gets in our way, but
and believing in it anyway, like we all got an ego, so why would you ever for a second be self-consumed in the demise of your own? Like, it's not, we all have egos, like no one's really watching you lose your ego or fall or be crushed and laughing at you. You're not, you know, you make an enemy out of people who are not your enemy. You know, if you could really see that, you can expose your ego. It's not real.
Yeah.
But love to Melo, you know what I'm saying, for seeing that. His kid. Respect his boy is nice. Yeah. So 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. Cheers to that. Love to y'all. He's another one, imagine that. Cayenne. I think it's Cayenne is his son.
Yeah.
Anthony.
Yeah, which I mean, there's good prospects on him, so hopefully we don't hear same backlash. But it's
him and Bryce at the same time.
It's always gonna be backlash, man, because I think, you know, again, I think there's, and sometimes I see it from men
by
too.
Then I would like to say no.
I would hope. Yeah.
By then I would like to say no, especially with him talking like this. Like, so love to them. I actually was listening to it too. I didn't get to finish it.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. They address that locker room kind of culture and stuff like that. It's pretty dope.
And it gives me hope to think past them, bro. Because how did they get there? They had to have support. So it's good, man. It's really good to like pay attention to these kind of podcasts, support them, put them out.
Oh yes, sir.
And understand,
yes,
like, you know, not to talk negatively, like, oh, woe is me, or we're not gonna get it through, because they had to get there with some help. You know, think about, like, I think Steve Kerr, shout out to him. You know, he must have been somebody behind him, pushing him on.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying, to bring him on the team. There's a little clip surfacing around where he was like, "Did Andre won MVP?" and he was dumb hype.
Yeah.
The day that he had won
for the Warriors.
Yeah,
nice.
So it was like, you know, people were actually wanting to know if Andre got it, and said, "Oh, that's so cool," because they probably had a vision for him too. You know, it's not just you by yourself with your vision and the people you know. There's more to it. So I always try to keep myself mindful of that.
Yeah, man. But that was a good highlight, man.
That was nice to talk about, right? Those kind of guys. Shout out to them doing things for men. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
The bigger script, bro. Not just your family too. Is people are watching. So
that's right. And so to kind of go back to, like, we started this on Father's Day. I was trying to think. I was like, where are we going back to? It kind of wraps around
these men. Father's Day mental health.
Did you, you know, what you said to me earlier still struck with me about, like, you know, LeBron getting his son a job and then being like,
right,
you know, my dad never got me a job. Then it got me thinking, like, you know, damn, I don't know if my dad got me a job ever, you know.
Yeah.
I will say, though, there were moments where I think I did learn skills that I could make money from. So I do think that I'll give him credit and would appreciate that, you know. But even then, it's like, yeah, I don't, like, definitely not on the level which I imagine LeBron, like, did with Bronny, you know what I mean, in terms of prepping him, like, going to his games, you know, picking him up from his games, likely going to his schools, you know what I mean, like, I didn't get into that.
Well, on top of that, he did give him skills, too. He gave him the skills and the job.
He was probably out there, you know, shooting with him. So, yeah, you know, and then I wondered about, like, how many of the just other men I've known not only work with professionally, but just know personally, and, like, even knowing their relationship with their fathers. And
right.
I mean, I know a lot of dads that definitely, I do know, I guess taking a quick assessment, I will say that majority of like the men around me do have dads that at least, if not taught them a skill that could get them a job, put them in positions, whether financially or through who they know, like, got them a job. So I guess obviously not on the LeBron James level, because he's LeBron James and he could just get his son into the damn NBA or help him get there. But, like, you know, like, yeah, get just helping their sons get to a place where, like, introducing them to a teacher that then get them a job at a school, or, like, the dad knows so and so that got their sons, you know what I mean, the job, like that. I do think is majority swinging that way, for better or for worse. You know?
He made me laugh too.
Just based on personally. Now, if I talk about the men that I worked with, you know, a lot of the men I work with through mental health when I used to run groups. Well, you know, these are men that struggle with relationships in general. So a lot of them know. Majority of those men did not have great relationships with their fathers, who did not get them jobs, who, as a matter of fact, probably tried to sabotage the jobs they could get. But yeah, nah, bro, and that sucks, man, because I think and I know that can do a lot for our emotional development, you know, and I think our life development to grow up with a dad or even dad figure that is involved. And so in thinking about Father's Day, right, one of the things that I think I will always push the fathers that I work with, and whenever I can, to those who I know, just to continue being as present as possible, even if you haven't been present yesterday, right? Like, if you weren't a present dad yesterday, don't let that deter you from trying to be a present father today or tomorrow or the next day after.
Right.
If you never called your son for whatever reason, start calling him today, tomorrow, even if they don't pick up. Like, you keep trying, because I think encouraging them to like knowing how impactful it is just to have your father figure in your life, for better or for worse. And obviously I do think for better, you know. So even if you're the dad who again has an estranged relationship, you know, you text your son or your daughter sometimes, they sometimes text back, they sometimes don't. Like, again, you keep faith, right? Because they probably are used to a dad that's not present. So just make yourself a present dad from here on out, even if you're a 60-year-old man. And if you live to be 70, right, just be a consistent present dad till you're 70. Trust me, by the time you get to 70 years old, your children will probably text you back first moment they can, if they never have before. Because I do think a lot of fathers, man, unfortunately, I think they give up too soon on their duties, you know. Especially I've seen fathers who aren't present struggle a lot becoming a present dad. You know, I think they're so used to being gone, and in addition to just not ever having that role model of a father, also just holding themselves accountable to be a better dad, man. So yeah, I think that's one of the things I want to go back to.
Shame is the thing that holds them back, in my experience.
Yeah,
I think it was shame. This conversation didn't go well. I had this conversation with my father, and it didn't go well. It was hard to get. It was hard to get him past the idea that I was still there. Right. Just because you bring it up don't mean you're still there, right? Like, I bring it up for a point, and it was like to be a good point, to be like, you know, even though I taught myself all these things, I had to be aware of the small, minute things that, you know, were there that I had, you know, I missed, but were very important. Like, that's why I always mention that I give him props for just telling me, never ever put your hands on a woman like that. Never ever hit a woman. Never ever, Robert. Never put your hands on a woman like that. You know, okay, if you want to make love, if it's something sweet and be cute and you love them, love to love them, but never to hurt a woman. Never. That's the one thing that he would say to me. I was like, oh, it's stuck, you know. But having a conversation with him, telling, you know, of just the natural truth of, like, you know, when you left, I was like 13. I wasn't a man yet. I was a boy. So it was good, though, you know, having a good spirit and energy and telling me things like that, and learning how to be a man by you, though. I didn't get any of your skills or traits. Like, you know what I mean? That was offensive to him.
Really?
Yeah. I felt that was disrespectful, which I just found quite interesting. I was confused. You know what I mean? I deal with a lot there where I just don't know how to take this generation. It's not just him. It's not only married to him as a gender, because I've seen women of that age do it. Yeah. You know, I'm talking about people born in the 50s. You know, it's shame. Like, it's just like, you know, they tried so hard. That's why I'm making sense of it. It seems as if they tried so hard, and the nerve of you is disrespectful to bring up any of my shortcomings. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like. Like, you don't know how hard it was. I could have died in so many experiences. You know, it was, you know, because we was bonding and I get to hear stories, and I'm like, it wasn't an easy life. So then I think if I mention anywhere where it sounds like you weren't amazing, the Superman that I actually did make you out to be, which was also wrong, didn't work out either. You know what I mean? There was no common there's no balance. There was no balance there. My truth couldn't live there. It had to be that, you know, he was a great father. He was there, you know. That
to his face, right.
I'm not trying to take that away from you. It was just to say, like, come on.
Even you said it. You hit on the head, though, Rob. That's the struggle, right? It's the thing with shame, because that's and if you take it as disrespect, that's because, like, I must have hit a nerve then, huh? Right? Like, you can see it.
You know, then it was hard to get. Then I couldn't get past that with him, because then in his mind he would always think that that's how you're looking at it, right? Like, as if your father did nothing for you, and then it becomes this, like, shame and guilt. Well, not guilt, but shame, kind of like does this ugly thing to your ego and twists the face of, like, and it's almost like you're just arguing at yourself. You're just mad at yourself and become this thing where your ego is about your ego and trying to feel better about yourself. But then everybody else got to lose their truth and what they got from you, because you're not going to see them until they, help twist that whole thing back. And like, oh, okay, I love you, Dad. No, you're a great father. How you doing? Act like it's all brand new again. Like,
Well, yeah.
which is
and
weird.
That's the thing that I think happens with, because I think you're also making space for the fact that, like, this is not exclusive to fathers, I think.
No.
For
I think
children.
It's mental, man.
I think as children, I do think there's been mothers who also would do the same to their daughters and their sons and deny that they've ever really impacted them negatively in any way. It's like, you can't talk about my shortcomings because I raised you, or et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. When by all means,
and I think that,
you're not trying to do that at all. You know how many times
but
I tried to give
tough.
love
That'd be
to say
that's
that
just
I'm
so
not.
hard.
I'm not. Like, I try to give so much love, but it's weird. You cannot budge out of that space. And so I've never gotten to have that, Is it, shaving, taught myself, driving, got that myself, getting good credit, paying for bills, learn myself,
big, dogs.
Signing for a lease, experience myself, girlfriend, like we were talking about sex, birds and the bees, experience myself, weird, get your first job, experience yourself. Yeah.
Well, I want to push back on that, Rob, and say that you didn't learn it by yourself, but you definitely learned it absent of your father.
Parents, right. Love to that. That's what I'm saying. Spiritually, I had to learn that. My mom was present, love to her, but again, like what we're trying to say, as a man, though, wouldn't it be different if you're a man, another kid that was a boy who had to go through it again was right there by your side, right? And so we lack that connect, but and it's evident in our relationship, we're very different. Like, he's the one, like, if a bee's flying around him, he'll smack it and stomp on it, and I'd be like, damn, bro, like. It doesn't understand, brutality, but it doesn't understand. I'm trying. He's like, no, it does understand, because I missed the first 2 times, and that's his energy. I missed the first 2 times, so it understood. I was here first.
Bee whisperer. It's like, I know what they're saying.
I just find it so funny if the energy.
Not getting territorial over
with a bee, bro. It's just like crazy, bro. Yeah, it's crazy. Wow, to me. Well, I'm just the one that, like, even though I'm still annoyed. In my mind, it's like I can move, or self-control, or understanding the science of bees. Are they gonna sting? They're gonna sting me and die, right? They're not gonna live past this altercation if I want to fight it. So it's like, why don't you get that? You know what I'm saying? That's why I would struggle with men. It's like knowing how destructive and how strong you are, your power, all you can do if you go ahead and care so much about that is not to be cared about. Well, you know what I mean? Look at what can happen. That's what I was telling you about the games, the fighting, the sports. What are we really losing? Nothing here, because we see a man who feels like a woman transitioning and going into women's sports. You know what I mean? But if we saw other people trying to tell us that they feel like us and come into our space, I see that. Yeah, for sure. Then I want to see how we would treat the situation.
Probably wouldn't treat it well.
Let's be real about it. So that's the thing that I'm like with manhood, where it's like, that's the strength, bro. There's something powerful about that, where it's like, challenge you, everything that you feel like you lose. When a man loses his dick, your shit's gonna go limp, bro, at some point. Every man out there, bro, your shit don't last forever, bro. And look what they selling you now.
All types of gadgets.
You heard? Blue chips, pink pills, yellow, gas station pills, whatever it is, packs. Bro. It's gonna be in mad beautiful different colors. A Skittles packet of Viagra, like, for y'all niggas. Because y'all want the same life. Y'all want to be kids. But it's like, I wonder if, like, you just lived life a little differently, and then you can appreciate it when the moment comes here, instead of being from the age of 16, 18, getting your dick hard, and then just 30, 40 fucking years of fucking that you still don't have nothing to show for even that kind of action that you're taking too early. You know what I mean? You could have a family. You could have kids. You could have respectable relationships. I think about that, like, but instead, y'all just have a bunch of promiscuous situations in the dark, hiding.
Well, again, I think we also push to be that. That's why I was like, I think that's
what pissed me off about the lifestyle, bro. I fell victim to that shit, bro. Where I was like, damn, this shit is whack.
I do think we, in many ways we still get, many ways we still get pushed to really pursue that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say, and I feel like I'm a guy that you don't look at like
as men. And not really given other choices to really explore our creativity, our competitiveness, and our competitive drive. If we're competitive, it's like how many women we can get, right?
For real, if you handsome, how many bitches you fuck? If you're competitive, how many wins? What W's? You know what I'm saying? Like, You know what I'm saying? You taught, right?
You're smart, how many degrees you got?
You taught for nothing. How many times you heard you taught for nothing? You taught for nothing, as if I got this height for something. I'm supposed to be taught for something. What the fuck you mean? If you got big feet too.
Again, we put this tough pressure on ourselves, Rob, and I think that's what's tough because again, then that happens, you know. And I remember hearing from dads like when it comes to like the financial pressure. I think that's something that comes up a lot for fathers I've worked with. This idea of being financially stable and having this financial pressure to provide, and then not being able to come up with it, and then feeling shame around it. So I do want to. I bring up the financial aspect, but again, that's just one thing I think that fathers believe they have to bring, and if they don't, they're not a father. And I think it's sad because it's like, you know, us as men, fathers or not, I think we play a huge role in the development of other young men. So I think how we show up is important in everywhere. And it sucks sometimes because I think the attitude that I see often amongst men is that like, I'm not gonna care about no one else really until I have my own. So I'm not gonna care about, like, I only care about my family, or as long as my family's good, as long as my kids are good, I'm not gonna care about nobody else's kids unless like, if it's my kid, I'll do something. You don't have a kid, like, can you just treat this, you know?
And I would like to call bullshit on that.
And so, right, because when you have kids, you don't care about them
because
either.
you got your own kids,
you don't care about them either.
It's like,
next kid, if you care about a stranger's kid, you're gonna love your kid, you know.
Crazy. I call bullshit on that. Experience.
But Rob, that's where now I want to land on, like, you know, in thinking about men's mental health, and then jumping into like the article that we looked at, the state of the state of American man. Which, let me see if I just pull it up real quick and then put it up on the screen for folks to read along with us.
I mean, I got this. Look at this.
What made me think about it was
look at this, people. Look at this.
I'm gonna just kind of keep it. Hopefully, the logo pops up. But what made me think about kind of tying it back to this in mental health and where we're landing at is just. This does address this article and this research on men that was based off of a survey done on different areas of topics of where men struggle with. It's a financial piece and also the shame, right? How so many men struggle with isolation, right? This article came out with a survey and that's very. Let me actually flip it so that I'll make sure we're good, so folks can see along. This article kind of like. Again, just really hit it on the head with a lot of important points that is important for us to address here and just bring up in a manuscript. So, Rob, I know you were taken aback as well, and by this.
So many notes, bro. It was just the percentages were crazy to me. Like 40% of us, like men, we show, you know, signs of depression like way early in our youth. From the age of like 18 to 23, and then it's like if you don't, you know, what I think about that age, depression wasn't even a word coming up to me. You know what I mean? Like not seriously. I mean,
if it was right.
Not seriously.
Yeah.
You're joking or you laughing at people.
Or for crazy people.
Yeah, like like they're about to lose their mind, like they're tripping, like they're bugging, people. Bro. You stressed, like
you're talking. Straight jacket.
But that's what's funny to me when I think about, like, of course I never had to deal with it because one thing I was on the trajectory of was being the kid that played too much because I did have reasons probably to be depressed, but I didn't want to be, so I counteracted it on the other side, like I'm about to joke OD, you know what I mean? So I was like, I definitely fall into that shit that I without even realizing it. Right, 16%.
40% is a lot, you know. That's a huge number.
What?
And
an unnecessary number. That's what I'm saying. It's not like we're talking about like, you know,
we have the solutions.
Science, like like there's 40% men and more men than women in the world. Oh, you know, it's we can't really choose that. Apparently, I just heard though that you can't choose the sex.
Oh yeah, dude.
That you can't choose the sperm and the sex. That's wild to me. That's crazy. You're playing with nature. It's like
you're playing with nature. Is all I'm gonna say about
that sperm might not have even made it. Wasn't meant to make it. It's not strong enough. But you're like, nah, I want that one. I want that one right there. That's crazy to me. That's like natural selection. Is just I don't know. It's crazy. It's just wild. Yeah. I learned that and that was tripping me. But anyway, 16% of men say they've called out a friend making a hurtful joke towards women. 16%.
That's pretty accurate, Rob. I ain't gonna
terrible.
Lie. It's terrible, but it's pretty accurate if you really think about it.
And you know why? It's because your awareness of it. 16%. Like think about it. You have a choice to say.
100 men, only 16 were like, yeah, when my boys are talking about bitch this and bitch that.
Bro, and yeah, you know your awareness is that you knew the moment that you could have said. That's what bothers me even more. It's not like you know that there are moments. You understand, like the past tense of the conversation of the question. Like you've had friends say hurtful things to women and you haven't said it. 16% said that they have. That means the other ones, was that 84%, say that they know that they say hurtful jokes and I don't say nothing. Quite interesting. Well, I'm like, and then.
Is it interesting though, Rob?
It's interesting in a way.
I mean, what would you have liked the number to be? What would you have guessed the number to have been before?
No, what I want to focus on is the fact that we dig our own hole. Pay attention that if 84%,
how does that number get so low? Is my question. Because if you would have guessed a different number,
because of the isolation, I would say that's what I was trying to get at. Think about that.
Okay.
If you're right, you don't say anything about this hurtful stuff going on. Why would you say anything about the hurtful stuff going on with you? So of course, then why we find up and we end up with these statistics of loneliness and depression and isolation. Because you wouldn't stop the next person from falling victim to something. Of course, you fall victim yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I started thinking. I was like, it's quite an interesting.
Or isn't it vice versa though? Maybe.
I was saying, is it like a thing that
maybe it's nobody cares about me, and as a man, everybody tells me to suck it up. They tell me I can't cry. They've been telling me I can't cry since 4 years old. So
I'll say it's both ends.
So now you're telling me I gotta call some girl I don't know why I gotta defend her honor because my boy's calling her bitch.
Saying, bro,
like they told
that's the thing about equality. You are just this person. You are the same. But what do you see a woman? What do you see another person? If you are just, I'm trying to tell you, get you to see yourself in that other person. It's no different.
But if nobody saw me as a person, how can I see somebody else?
Amen. We're love to that. Right.
And I think that's why I'm glad you were saying that, because you challenged me to thinking that without knowing in a way, right? Like to remember that like as men, again, it is all connected, right?
Yeah. So
I could look at that 16% and be like, you see, that's because us men, we fucking know better, like, and we not doing nothing, and like I can start going off on like how us as men we need to do better, and we don't do shit. Which we still don't, and I can say that.
Where's that? Remember our first episode with the train situation?
Right. Well, also, I think speaking personally from like someone who was very much like I was like this microwave learner, you know. So very early on with the rap program and stuff like that, you know, like once I learned all this information and I became more educated on certain topics like sexism specifically, it would be like, oh shit, we can't call them bitches, and I would be annoying with it. But then it became, well, oh yeah, sorry, we can't say bitches, AL-BEATZ here, right? And then now it becomes like this joke. But then I could say, reflecting back, in those moments, how I dealt with it was knowing like, okay, at least I'm making an impact. So yeah, it's a joke right now, but it's better than it continuing. So I'd rather folks around me be like, oh, my fault, I can't say that because you're here. Like, I'll take it.
It's so interesting to think about that.
Yeah. At least I get that. So it's, you know, I don't know what the intention of my folks around me. I imagine it was to make light of it. I hope it wasn't like to make light of me, versus like making light of the situation and the fact that they have a friend in the friend group who is gonna say like, yo, wait a minute, we should think about this for a second. Like, why she gotta be that, or why we gotta do this, right?
That's what I like about Christianity, when it just says they know not what they do.
I will admit,
I don't know what y'all doing,
admit though
that
that you know, in a moment of vulnerability, like that's why I stopped doing it, because then it became exhausting. Because it's like, yo, it's either I like hang around y'all or I don't hang around y'all, because I don't want to have to keep going around you and then
hearing
be
the
like,
same shit.
Yo, but you don't gotta call her bitch though.
Right.
But does she really gotta be bitches though? Like, what's, you know?
Yo, chill, don't call her bitch. AL-BEATZ here. My fault, Barry. My fault, Barry. I remember they used to be funny like that. My fault, Barry. You know.
But I like that. But I prefer that, because at least there's enough at least respect for the moment.
But what you're getting at is almost as if for men,
exhausting.
That respect is more for you than for the actual outcome. Whereas the women, right? You still, if I'm not around and there's women around, you still gonna call them a bitch. Yeah. You're missing the point. You're doing this for me when I'm doing it for them, and we should be doing it for them. You should just stop. Why don't you do it for your mother?
For ourselves.
And look at the men we're talking about. They end up having daughters.
That's why I went wrong. I think my argument should have been, I'm doing it for us, because it's about like, you know, I don't want you to just talk about others like this, because as a man, I believe you have value. And I don't want people just talking about you like this. Right. So if I am in a group of women and they're referring to you as such and such and such,
bitch ass nigga,
or whatever makes you feel offended. Yeah. Because some people are, I don't care if you call me a all right, for whatever makes you feel offended. So I do think, like, my growth now is around more of like having conversations around, like, I hear what you're saying. To me, my argument is humanity. So are we gonna then argue that you're not against humanity? You don't think as humans we should get this? Because it's hard. Because you are human. Unless you don't consider yourself human, then you're gonna say, well, nah, I don't think we should. I don't think we should get equality. I don't think we should get respect. Versus, like, and then steering away from, like, what if this was your mother? Because again, I've also met men who are like, well, yeah, I care if it's my mother. I don't care if it's not my mother. And there's some men who would draw that line as if that's some honorable, moral thing to do.
Yeah, it's
right?
very
like,
tricky.
No, you should care about the other person too, just as much as you would care about your mother. Like, if you want to jump over the bridge over your mother, and then maybe, like, not jump over the bridge, but still try to save that person, okay, fine, whatever. But, like, don't, like...
I've seen men, bro, men that I have respect for, that, you know, they would confidently tell you, like, they'll fight for, like, you know, you see somebody right now getting a woman, like, help, please help. She's out there, you saw her out there, and you just stay there and you watch, because you don't know her, so you're just watching. You know, I've seen men say, if I don't know you, I'm not helping you, but if I know you, I'll help you. And it's just, man, you know, I know, you know, my only argument with that was, like, I can't never tell you what to do. Dare I say to tell you to do something and it'd be wrong.
Right.
Why my focus is on, because it's my focus even for myself. If my spirit tells me yes, you know what I mean? Because we all know when it's like you wanted to, yo, bro, I wanted to call you, bro. I was thinking about you, bro, and then shit happened, bro. I hit my fucking toe, so I was bleeding. I had to, no, for real, I had to hit my toe. I was bleeding, so I healed that up. And then by the time I healed that up, I looked at the time, and I had to go. No, I just had to go. I had to go. Man, shit happened. That called me. Like, just anybody, if somebody calls you, and are you in that conversation, doesn't matter what it was. But the point was, is that something sparked inside you and said, do this, right? You see that happen, and it said, go help. That is what my focus is on more. Because then I always realize, even with me, is like I have a thing to want to do something, and then right after comes the shit that I listen to more that holds me back.
Of course.
That it's like, fuck, what's that? You know what I mean? I want to ignore that, whatever that is. You know, like wanting to go out, and I've been wanting to ball way more, and the weather has been fine. But look, I was complaining when it was raining, now it's too hot. And I'm trying to catch myself in that in between of when I want to do it, and then I'll just be like, have those moments of like, nah, I could better utilize my time doing this. And maybe I'm right. But I get mad when I look at the imbalance of, like, to me it's about balance. I've been making that choice more than going out. Then let me go out and ball and do that. As you know what I mean? That's what it always ends up being about balance. You can only tell yourself it's right or wrong. Right?
Sure. I do think my fear is that people, I would hope that someone, and not just someone, again, men, would see, like, in the scenario you're describing, would have that at least initial thought to say, maybe I should go help, or I should go help.
Yeah.
And then, you know, but I do worry that I think there are men who, like, that thought doesn't even cross their mind to even try to help. Like, that's not even a thought. Like, that's not.
The biggest fear too is when they try to help and they don't even, they only know how to help one way, and it's to hurt you. That's my thing too.
Yeah.
A lot of men only know how to help one way, and it's being. I'm about to.
My conflict is
and
violence.
That's another thing that I had to look at, where it's like, fuck.
I mean, you know, and I do think that socialization starts from young. You know, to solve your conflicts with violence and to be a bystander or upstander with violence, right? Again, you know, our superheroes are all men, and their superheroes are usually, like, you know, beating up, using violence, right, to get there to solve a crime, to save the day at the end of the day, or whatever the case may be. But that's why that's a little tougher to kind of, like, to still dig into, because I do think it starts from, again, just the very simple stuff, man. In order for us to get to the bigger things, we have to even start at the small stuff. So our language, how we look at each other, going back to that study, right? The language you use to describe or to talk about other human beings, right? Because that 16% is very low, right? And in my experience, I do see that there are a lot of young men who are uncomfortable with the ways that the disrespect that they see around them, and still having struggles with how do I address it in a group of other men or a group of other young men. And I do think it just takes time to, and what we'll continue to reverse it is as long as I think there has to be, again, spaces and friend groups where this stuff does exist separately, you know. But the article that we're looking at, because I think it's very important, especially for those who are, if we happen to have any viewers who like work with young men, or who's a friend of a teacher or education, or if you have a son or a nephew, or if you have a friend that's a young man or men, like, I think this research is very important to just look at and to even consider reviewing if you're like wondering about like what's going on, because again, this article itself, I'm not gonna say like is the be all end all, but I do think it's a great way to explain a bit of what I think is going on. So I think I look at this, right, and see what relates and what doesn't. Again, like that number that they put, the 16%. You know, to me, that's not surprising, because again, I've been part of that 16%, and I know it's a small number, because oftentimes I've been in a room of 8, 9, 5 men, young men, and I'm the only one saying something. Mm-hmm. So like, and then sometimes somebody will agree with me, and to be like, yeah, nah, but I see where he's going. I see what he's talking about. Nah, you right though. He right. Like I'll get like one person to agree, right, but everyone else is quiet. So even going back to your notion of like that there's potentially an 84% that know the right answer. I don't know that 84%.
Well, no, just not because the right 60%
answer. Speak up.
Just that they're conscious.
I don't know that that's what I'm saying. I don't know, because again, being someone who's called out groups and then seeing the response, I don't think that they thought it was wrong. I do believe a lot of men, again, really internalize these nasty ideas of like, again, not just women but ourselves, right? We believe that a man who is tall and doesn't play sports is tall for nothing, and that's a fucked up way of thinking about another human being, and especially how men look at other men. We believe if you can't exercise, or if you have never gotten into a fight, you're soft and you're not worthy. You're not worthy of being respected. I mean, again, another study they found here is that men feel another finding is that men feel more accepted when they act manly. And what does that mean, right? To act manly, I mean, we talked about what it means to act manly, right? Oftentimes it means to be dominant, very usually respond with violence, use some sort of aggression, a leader by control.
I would say liked. You gotta be liked. If you're not liked, then you kind of don't feel.
Feared. Right? It's either liked or feared. Right, so
interesting.
We don't have to be liked, right? That, but if you think about how we appreciate and we big up a lot of assassins, right? Assassins are our role models. We love assassins. There's Assassin's Creed has a whole freaking franchise on assassins that are, you know, they're obviously women assassins, but they're men too, right? Like, we love this idea of the male as the assassin, like the killer, like, you know. So that is part of the definition of what it means to act manly, you know. And so we see here that's something that a study and a statistic that is not new. I think it's something that we've been grappling with and continue to grapple with for years, especially in an ever-changing society where now, again, with social media, we have more visibility of other identities that then now confuse us. And I do like that this article does address that issue, which is what I think I tried to address in a couple of streams ago, how, you know, feminism has been brought to the light in ways that we've never seen it before, but now it's been also tainted, just like other social advancements have been tainted. So now folks are tired of seeing, oh, why we gotta see flags everywhere? Why there's pride flags everywhere all of a sudden? Like, bro, first of all, it's June, so you're gonna see pride flags everywhere. Second of all, like, we've never really even seen like LGBT folks really fairly represented in our society when we know they exist. So why are we complaining that they exist? They're simply existing. So, you know, this article really also shows how much men struggle with the advanced ideas, even though they're, you know, that we're seeing today. I am looking right now at a stat that actually I might have missed. But not only are men like having, you know, based on this survey, a lot of our mental health issues does have to do with like the way we just are simply thinking about ourselves and believing about society. So again, it's not even sometimes what we're doing, which is what's even more fascinating to me, right? Is more what's impacting our mental health more is what we're thinking and what we're choosing to believe.
Yeah.
Not even what we're actually doing. But that makes sense, Rob, because I think as a mental health professional learning about the field, I've come to conclude that is a huge factor, like, into how we behave. So what we believe in life and how we think will influence greatly how we behave. So again, if us as men, we have very harmful beliefs about ourselves and about humanity, our mental health is probably not going to be the best. Right here, it, like, I didn't even see this. It says 51% of men agree that if a guy has a girlfriend or wife, he deserves to know where she is all the time, compared to 46% in 2017, which means in 2017, less men thought that they need to be stalkers of their girlfriend or wife by the deserving. Again, I think what bothers me is that the word deserve. Like, if you and your wife and your girlfriend agree to know where you are all at all times, then you've consented for that to be a thing. But if that was never a conversation,
I have a few things about you two, this one,
with you two, because I worry that, again, we have very strict ideas of relationships as men. We're taught,
or girlfriend or wife, two big differences. So I don't like that we put that in comparison to, like, girlfriend and wife is very two different things. They're gonna have two different expectations in a relationship. If I have a wife, I don't expect to know where she's at all the time.
No, the word is deserve.
But I also deserve, expect. I know, I understand.
It's like, I have a right to this.
Again, my other issue
like,
is all the time. You know, it's like, it's just about
That's what I think is important.
Really communicate.
The word.
Like, and also check yourself and see what you reciprocate, what you give, right? Because again, if she don't know, a lot of that shit is sneaky and funny shit, and that's why we have these conversations about manipulation and gaslighting and men doing that, because if she can't know where you're at all the time and she don't deserve that, then why, you know what I'm saying, there's no equality there. And me, that's the big difference, right? Boyfriend, girlfriend, we're getting to know each other. Perhaps you're gonna learn what I think about women, what you think about men, and what we expect, right? Man and wife, we got married, we should have already known that by now. There's no comparison, girlfriend or wife. You know what I'm saying? To me, like, make it. I don't know. I know that y'all do it for relationships.
Yeah, because I mean, the thing here is
different expectations for a wife.
It was more about addressing this piece right here. And the piece that I think that it's trying to highlight more is that some restrictive views about manhood. Because, again, this idea that, like, I deserve to know where you at.
Right.
Like, it's about, as a man, I need to know where my girlfriend or wife is. That's period. And she don't have to know where I'm at.
Respectfully, too, to let them know, fellas, you're not wrong about this, but it's that there's no love in that. You want to know where she's at all the time. You don't deserve it. Why don't you just take the vulnerability route and just let her know that you want to know this, right? Like, you want to know, you really care. I mean, you think that you're communicating because you say you deserve it, but it's really about communicating with, like, a sense of, like, I'm up here, I got nothing. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be right down here with me, vulnerable. Like, that's vulnerable. You want to know where I'm at all the time. There's reasons to that. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't got to be that you don't trust me. It could just be you're worried about me. You don't trust the world. But they're going to say anything that they want to say. But, you know, again, all the time, deserves, girlfriend, wife, those bother me, because it's like, there's differences here. All the time, too, you're not, excuse me, you're not going to know where I'm at all the time. And if I don't get that shit from you, then I don't see why. I'm like that in relationships.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it has to be about, like, consent and communicating, right? Like, obviously, and I'll go back to communication because I wanna want to show you something and get your thoughts on it. But another part that I want to highlight here is this part, right, Rob? That this study right here says that there was a study done about the man box, right? And the study concluded that young men who believed most strongly in restrictive manhood were also those most likely to report suicide ideation, depressive symptoms, bullying, sexual harassment, binge drinking, and traffic accident at all at statistically significant levels. So I think, again, highlighting the study is what I've come to know, and what I wish to let other men around my life often know, in very subtle ways, sometimes very direct ways, but in subtle ways of, like, let go of that restrictive thinking of manhood. So again, accept that, like, we are a lot more equal as humans than you may have been taught to believe, right? Men saying men are stronger than women in these areas just because, right, is inconclusive, right? Because that's based on very sexist scientific evidence, right? Saying that men are inherently better than women at sports is again skewed based on science done by just mostly men. And coupling that with the fact that we don't even engage in mixed gender sports to begin with, to even know what that's like, right? So a lot of our thinking, we need to challenge it, right? Because I think being open, being vulnerable is where it's at. Because again, as we have seen and studies continue to show us, is that the more we restrict our thinking, the more we limit our thinking about humanity, the more it is likely to lead to like more negative consequences for us as individuals first, whether that be, you know, being more suicidal, being more depressed, engaging in bullying, or even binge drinking, and I'm assuming drug addiction, right? So again, for me, I think that's what it's, again, I'm speaking even personally, being able to have this education has allowed me to move through life a lot easier, man, to not live by these pressures, man. I could think of a few moments where, like, I know other men where other things have happened to me that other men will perceive as like, oh, someone was challenging your manhood, someone was making you feel less than a man, and I didn't respond in a way that I was traditionally told to respond to, which is aggression, and I felt fine. I'm still here. I come out fine. I'm living another day. I'm still breathing.
Yeah.
I still believe my manhood is intact.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm okay with it. I've also known men who like live their life off of regrets because there's choices they didn't make.
Right.
You know, when their manhood was challenged and things like that. And it's like, I want you to let that go, man, because there's no reason to even live with that. You know, because that's stuff that you'll carry that will make you more depressed, that will make you more anxious. And I think a lot of men, again, because we're not having these conversations often, and this is the first time I think in our generation, in our lifetime, that these conversations are even happening more broadly, where you could just type in and find us, you know, having this conversation and be like, oh my God, I didn't.
That's true.
Shit,
That's true.
I don't have. This is the first time in our lifetime that this is even happening and taking place. And so now men know it's possible.
Yeah.
But, you know, we grew up in such a restrictive, I mean, you and I are in our 30s already. We've been so restricted for so long. It's like, and then what will we do? We have children and we pass that on. You know,
I don't see
many fathers have told their sons the same thing we heard.
For sure.
Many young fathers our age have told their sons the stuff we heard. Don't cry, you're a little man.
That's what I was about to say. I don't
man?
see many examples around me from people around our age that are doing things very different. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, no disrespect. You know, it's
like evolved. It's evolved, but
it's
not
tough.
different. You know what I'm saying?
I would say it's evolved in the sense where I give them credit that they're present. You know what I mean? What they're doing that, you know what I'm saying? Other generations are, I would just say they're victims as well, man, because presence, man, presence is a gift. You wake up and you're present. You never are not with your family. You just, you know, abandon them in a sense, the way they abandoned you. It sucks. It's unfortunate. But family's what you make it, yada, yada. I think that it gets difficult and then they just give up. You know what I'm saying? They walk away. So what this generation is doing, staying more present. Yeah. You know what I mean? I love that. Just trying to stay present and love that. You know, you can't do it perfectly. Excuse me if I'm laughing in the. I'm like, you can't do it perfectly. That's why I laugh, only because when I have these difficult conversations, like we were saying earlier, and then they fall into shame and trying to get mad at you, it's almost because they think you're and they want to say you're being disrespectful. It's because it's like you're discrediting everything they went through. And I think that's just so far from the truth. It's like, we're not each other's enemy. You know what I mean? Like, if you told me to call you more, right, you wanted me to be a better friend, and you checked me on how I could be a better friend, I'd be wrong to get upset at you. Even though I'll be right in my emotions, like, wow, you came out of nowhere and just said that to me. That shit hurt my feelings. Like, all this time you was feeling this way and didn't say anything. Like, the enemy's getting you to say so many things as opposed to staying present, realizing he says something, you're making it about you again, right? Like, you know what I mean?
It's that selfishness in us, Rob, man. I think
it's wild.
We're taught that a lot, man.
It's wild. But then again, like I don't know if you relate to having the to balance it out of like you being human, bro. Like, and this battle is not for you to take on for the world. It's unfair for you to not be able to experience your emotions and actually let that be true. You know what I mean? And just have to be better for bigger purposes. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I've been trying to do better at too, where it's like I don't have to make up for anything out here. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's okay, your shortcomings, it's okay. You know what I mean? Like chill. Like
I think that's a hard
sometimes
part,
you want to be perfect, get right.
Okay.
Because it's not the end. It's not the end. You act like you just lost and you gotta watch the scoreboard. You know, it's not over. Chill. Like it's interesting. Like that's why I've been like waking up every morning and then I get upset even with myself because it's like I'm not making the drastic change that I want, but I gotta calm down. Like I gotta breathe and I gotta start slow. You know. And one of the things I realized today was the small thing that got me to go farther was the small thing of like attending to my body in small ways. You know what I mean? You don't realize what you're neglecting. And so it was important to check in. You could get mad at everything around you, but you check in for yourself. You're like, oh, damn, that's true. Today I went and got a green juice. So, I mean,
shout out to the green juices, man. Shout out to the green juices. Shout out to the green juices.
Just trying to figure out, like, what are things that I haven't gotten to do that I remember that made me feel good. And it's not like, you know, it's not neither here nor there. But it's like, damn, Lord, I haven't had greens in a while. Fuck it. Let me spend some money on this green juice right here. Whereas like the bad thoughts in my head wanted to spend money on shit that quick pleasures, some chocolate, you know what I'm saying? Fuck it, buy some bud, fuck it, buy a sandwich from Moreno's. All that's quick shit. But it was like, I've had that though. I had the bud. I just had a nice sandwich. You know what I mean? When you think about it, it's not that you're deprived of all these things, but haven't you really gotten? It was like greens. Yeah, I actually went through it's interesting
it takes
too,
a while to get because I can
feel the person on the other side be like, that green, whoa, and I feel you, bro. I feel you. It's like,
but it's needed.
That really, you gonna lie to me, Rob? You gonna say
the green's
a
better.
celery ginger juice that's better than a Snickers? A Snickers with some bud and a butter roll or some shit, whatever it is. Like what?
Bacon and cheese.
Yeah, I'm saying like. It's not, but it wasn't about that. Again, this capitalism, right? Better. It wasn't about better. It was about balance. A different word for me. Yeah, man. You know?
Well, I do want to shine a light on some things that I did take from the study as well, because we're doing this on YouTube, right? And according to the study, like, have you seen this part right here of the social media use? I thought that was fascinating because look at the usage on social media. By the way, man, YouTube having the highest averages.
YouTube with a staggering
lead amongst Gen Z, which I found fascinating.
Right.
I thought TikTok would rip it, but not necessarily. TikTok seems to be in second place, but YouTube is pretty much kicking ass across the stage as far as like social media use. Which I also posted, by the way, on the YouTube. I don't know, you can actually post now regularly. Like, you can post a photo.
That's what I was
Instagram
referring
style.
to. You do that. It was love to, bro. I love that. I didn't know that you could do that.
Yeah.
I seen that. It's I seen flexing. That's a beautiful thing, bro.
Well, remember, I challenged myself like 2 weeks ago to post more.
I support that OD. That was nice. I was
like, okay, I did challenge myself to post and put something in.
You know, I like that too because I was on here and I seen it. Yeah. And it allowed me not to have to go to my phone to click the link that you sent me. I could do it from here. And so bro,
it was good. But I wanted to shine that. I was like, yo, I don't know if Rob saw this.
I did not. Look at that. I love that they give you the average too, like in case you know all these numbers and colors.
Yeah, that's a high number, bro. That means half of internet users,
everyone. Around like, look at that, from 18 to 45.
So are we on the wrong platform or are we on the right platform?
We're on the right platform. I love to that.
I think we're on the right platform, man. Because sheesh.
Yeah.
That's by age group, bro.
Yeah.
So we do hope to.
Wild. TikTok is right under Instagram.
Yeah, right on its tails.
Snapchat is still alive.
Yeah, it actually is. Amongst the crowd that you see the age group, Gen Z.
You know, it's disrespectful.
I didn't even know that Zillennial was a thing. I didn't even know. Do you know Zillennial was a thing?
That's apparently Amanda. I did not know. Yeah.
A younger millennial, and then I guess an elder millennial.
Sister.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Okay, I didn't even know that was a thing. Okay.
Yeah, and I had no idea. I thought they were millennials, and that we were what? What was it? I thought we were like Gen Y. Was it?
Yeah, Gen X. Gen X.
But I guess we're not. We're millennials.
Yeah.
It's weird to me because when I think millennial, I think
about
the
millennia, the 2000s.
But that's what I'm saying. I was old enough to know. Like I was in I saw when Backstreet Boys came out with Millennium. I was like, that doesn't feel like me. Like I definitely was in the scene. But is that me, my generation? I guess.
Yeah. No, this is good. I want to highlight, put some shine to this, and then we were just talking about a lot, but we already been on for like an hour.
Yeah. I want to show you. Love. I appreciate.
I did want to show you one more thing, because I do want. What we had on our notes was kind of like a couple
small topics, right? Subtopics,
and some bullet points specifically around like, okay, so now that we, we've acknowledged here on this platform that like men's mental health is a thing. Not only that, but that June specifically is a month held to commemorate men's mental health, to also highlight some things that we can do
right
to challenge the issue. We see by various articles, especially this report done by Equimundo, by the way, which I want to give them a shout out as well for putting it on. That clearly that's something to discuss, and clearly it's something we as a society want to address if we're hoping for a quote unquote better future. And so one of the things that was that was on our bucket list is like, okay, so how do we then improve, right? How do we keep improving? So how do we what are things that as men would help improve our mental health, right? And so I do think that in our discussion today and on Monday as an extension, we've already addressed some of those things, which one of the things that we talked about as far as like improving our mental health starts with like challenging our beliefs and mostly openness, sitting in vulnerability.
Yep.
So opening ourselves up to being vulnerable by either being more expressive and in our relationships
and life, expression in life.
We talked about being open to different identities, right? To stripping ourselves of these beliefs of like othering people. So like, you're too tall, so you should be this, right? You're too short, you should be this. You're gay, you should be this. Especially when it comes to our harmful thinking around LGBT communities. We talked about how addressing that is important to our mental health. And in our notes, I want to just go back real quick, highlight some other stuff here that he had. Like, right, we did talk about like addressing the violence as well, and addressing the violence amongst ourselves. Last week we talked about
that kid, that rapper Julio, which is just so disrespectful. I don't even want to say that. What is this man's real name?
They don't know his real name, but we also talked about like these different rappers that died before the age of 25.
You had a whole list.
Yeah, there was a whole list on Wikipedia you could find of rappers that died before the age of 25. Tupac.
But how about you find the rappers that you support before the age of 25? How about that? How about y'all go out there and support rappers under 25? Yeah. No, that you know.
Okay.
I don't know them. You know them. You know people under 25 that want to rap. Support them before they out here getting shot and they fucking with people that don't care about their lives. How about we do that? Shit.
Yeah, no, that's important.
It's crazy. These are people who
and most people don't. They don't support their friends enough.
That's not a world that we talk about like it's light. There's light into Hollywood. Like, and these are young kids that are out here thinking that that's just what it is. They're gonna jump in there. Like, there's predators out there for that. And here y'all are just work. And this is what gets me about money. That it's all a distraction. Because a lot of us don't think we don't see it as long as we smiling with it. My young kid smiling with his Jordans and his whip, and he's chilling and he's stunting, and I'm over here on Temu buying all of my shit, and I'm good. I'm shopping on Walmart. I'm good. I'm getting my money until what? Until something sneaky under the you know what I'm saying, behind the curtain happens, and niggas men are being a women, or women are setting up men to get pregnant, or men and women are throwing STDs at each other. All this sneaky weird dark shit that y'all do. Like, stop fronting like y'all don't understand that you could feel the culture is already in there. Take part and love your people so that they don't have to leave you and go somewhere else to find money. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a fact.
I think about it as all support. Support as opposed to then shame. You know what I mean? I think there's shame in that too when you need support as men. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think asking for support when we're vulnerable is also like very key for us to do as men.
So that's how people can help us too. Is if I know that my homie is not gonna want to ask me something because he's my homie, he's a man, he might have shame to ask me. I know that God gave me, in my mind, God gave me awareness of that. So let me use that and not wait for him to say something and be like, yo, bro, you're not gonna ask me for help, are you? Come on, man, give me that. Let me get that. Stop playing, bro. You know what I mean? Like, come on, let me say something, because I know. And we do that a lot.
I mean,
we're waiting for people to dig themselves up off the grave, and it's like,
and we want to, and I want to acknowledge that, like, we grow up with that as men a lot, right? Do things by yourself, be your own individual, like you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so I think it's hard to shake that, and then so then we apply that to other men. Like, we don't ask if our other men is okay because it's like, well, you got this, right? Because like I got this, so you got this, right? Like, so I do want to acknowledge that that's a thing, but that's why we're here having these conversations to let you know that doesn't have to be the way. I think there is a better way in going about life that would be more positive towards us, our thinking.
The second that y'all believe it, it'll happen. Yeah. I would like to stress that. The second y'all, but stop wasting your time and hearing us speak and tell us what cannot be. If you're hearing us speak and you're like, oh, you listen to the voice inside your head saying that we're naive and everything telling yourself what can happen. Yeah. The minute you stop those voices and you actually are part of the side that's actually trying to find out, I don't care to have the solution. Just stop being a part of the problem, telling me all the shit that I already know. You know what I mean? Like, have a second to think about what maybe could happen. Have an imagination about it, as opposed to telling me what I already see. I see that it's not working. I see these motherfuckers not supporting, not even me. You know what I mean? But don't focus on that. You got to be the change. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So another thing I want to add as far as like our mental health, which is really something that I think as men specifically, is our social media usage. It's funny that I'm still on this page because I didn't realize, were you reading the rest of this? This page specifically that I'm in, is addressing
that should call me out crazy.
So,
I wrote that shit down right here. I didn't want to talk about that. Talk about shame. I was embarrassed. I said, oh no, look at us men. They read us quickly.
However, though, look, there's a 66% of men that agree. They agree. I often think that I should spend less time on my phone or online.
Nice.
Right. Okay. However, 48% of men agree my online social life is more engaging and rewarding than my offline social life. I don't think that's exclusive to men. I do think that number is probably the same if we do the study
for
across
women too, right? Yeah, so humanity.
Exactly.
Right.
I think that's an issue. I do think it's funny though that here it says views online pornography once per week or more.
Yeah, bro.
How those percentages are similar across what are you age group?
Well, that shows too,
Gen
right?
Z, millennials, elder millennials, probably boomers is all around the 60% mark. So all of us as men are watching porn at least once.
Terrible relationship with sex. Week. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
And however, even more interestingly enough, it says as far as those who made attempts to quit viewing porn and failed, the numbers are much higher for Gen Z than there are for elder millennials. So it seems like older millennials were able to actually quit and not fail. So quit and stay quitting.
No, they got my number there. Got my number there.
Versus Gen Z and millennials who are struggling. And what's crazy is that I wonder how accurate those numbers are. But
I wrote that. That shit got me a staggering 6 in 10 men visit sites weekly. 6 in 10 men. 60%.
But we're not surprised, though, Rob. I mean, we grew up.
That's not fair. I'm not surprised.
Hey, is that 8?
That's right. I said, I'm going to say 7 in 10, man. You didn't ask me. I didn't vote. It's terrible. No, but as we know, I forgot it was like 4 weeks ago or so. I was telling you I'm trying to stop that. My thing was the over-sexualization. And it's like, it's sneaky, man. It's so terrible that you could literally be a kid and have nothing on your phone and just go and be on TikTok and search and ass and titties is coming on your screen. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, it's out there, pop-ups and everything. Like, nah, man. So over-sexualization is something crazy. And then, they only look at it as a quick little thing. It's only a quick little whatever the fuck they gonna last, 10 minutes, 5 seconds, whatever it is, like quick nut off and it's over. But you don't see that cyclical nature of that. It becomes almost like that movie Click, where every time you got the remote and you hit for that button and you take that action, you're always gonna have some sort of same experience in sex. So those numbers right there, staggering through 60%, don't surprise me because it's all connected.
Yeah, It definitely is, and so that's why social media, I think, and it's something I've talked about multiple times, not only on this live, and I'll keep repeating.
Right.
I think it's so important to, like, ever so often. I'm talking about, it might even be monthly. Just go through like a social media sort of purging, either taking a break from it or really going through your list of followings and content and algorithm, muting stuff, blocking stuff, deleting especially content that you know has been getting to your head. If you've been struggling with money, and we know how as men that's a really big source of our shame and insecurities, it's finances. If you've been struggling with money, why would you go ahead and have your algorithm filled with like stocks and these businessmen who are always telling you what to do with stocks, telling you what to do with money, and making you just feel broke? You're not gonna feel good. So go off and start blocking those things so that doesn't keep coming up on your timeline. I think also stuff with relationships, which is the biggest things we've talked about, right? You got these damn dating YouTube shows and everything, right? The balloon popping stuff, like that's popping up on my TL, and it's because I talk about it with students.
I would love to. I
gotta constantly go back and like delete, because
it's such a study of man.
But oftentimes, that's what I'm saying. But oftentimes these things are curated. You know what I mean? These events are not like
they are.
Let's actually let these things happen how they happen. Like, I think people are set up to then for things to happen, and usually oftentimes are very negative things that speak negatively about men and women, and more importantly men's relationship to women. So like, we gotta block those things off. I have another thing I was gonna show you, man. Like,
it's Hollywood, man.
Right, they posted this, right, to talk about the intricacies
when I first got married
of communication, right? So this, we also gotta watch, you know, we've been talking about a lot about relationship stuff and the relationship shows and advice coming across social media all the time. All podcasts want to talk about relationships. Half the time they're talking about toxic things when it comes to relationships. But here's another example of something I came across. I don't know how this is going to play out, so let me see.
Wife told me one night, she said, Sean, I'm going to bed early. I left some food on the stove. Can you put it away before you go to bed? I said, sure. There are 4 pots on the stove.
Like this.
I go to the refrigerator, I make room, and I put each pot neatly into the refrigerator. I put the food away. She comes down the next day, goes to the refrigerator, sees that I put the 4 pots in the refrigerator, and says, why did you put the pots in the refrigerator? Because before you went to bed, you communicated, put the food away. I did what you said. When she told me to put the food away, what did she mean? Put the food in Tupperware, wrap the food up in saran wrap, put the food in aluminum foil, wash the dishes, be sure to empty the dishwasher. She said none of that. The point I'm trying to make is, just because you're talking doesn't mean that your partner is understanding. You got to be sure that you are being assertive. What do you feel? What do you need? What do you want? What do you desire?
Hold on. This is funny, because ladies, how many of y'all are out here saying like, yo, you don't pay attention? You don't see me? Do you see me throw the pot in the refrigerator? How many? Come on, ladies. Come on, stop playing, bro.
But Rob, I'll play that real quick.
Awareness is key, man.
Because, like, look, but that's my point, Rob. Like, you come across this stuff, you get what you're saying, but it's like, dude, again, you could get fooled, though. He sounds like somebody that's making sense. Yeah. And maybe he is making sense as far as, like,
disrespectful. Like, right now, I told you, right now, baby, you talking.
Yeah.
But do you think I understand you? Shut the fuck up then and try to listen to him. What the fuck you mean you don't understand?
Well, because, you know, it gets put as, like, this whole, like, oh, he's saying some shit because he's saying, like, oh, it's important to communicate exactly what you want. Because he failed. And because he didn't understand. Like, come on, dog.
No, you wasn't. I didn't understand this assignment, teach. That's what it is.
And it sounded like he put the pots away in the food just to spite his wife, and then he gonna be like, "Well, you ain't say
put it away neatly.
You ain't say to put it in Tupperware. So you gotta talk how you mean it, bro. Listen,
I like
so
this.
That's why you have to be very careful with relationship advice you take from like the internet, because like he sounds like he's saying something very cool. Good luck with that, right? Because honestly, if you're really communicating with your partner, when they tell you to put away the dishes, if you've really got that intricate and vulnerable with your partner on what it means to communicate, then once they tell you to put away the dishes, you should know that means put the stuff in a Tupperware, wash the dishes, clean the dishwashers, and do et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because first of all, who the fuck really just puts food away in the pots? You do that if you're really tired and you're lazy, and that's when you say, well, honestly, I'm just tired, babe.
Why we got Tupperware?
I'm just really tired. I'm just really tired, babe. So, but I was gonna get up in the morning and put everything away properly. But I was really tired.
That's the next step. Right. What happened after?
But
now I'm saying, you know, what happened after? You came on
You
the
know what I'm
podcast
saying?
to tell me how I wasn't talking right. That's what you did. You know, you could have, when we had the argument and we was talking about it, you could have, instead of going to the podcast, spent some time and fixing what I told you about. But you rather go on and tell me how I wasn't doing it right.
I didn't really communicate.
We're gonna be.
I didn't really communicate.
Let's pay attention. And we eat every day. We're gonna be here again. So that's why I like to see too in cycles of very awareness and peep the cycles. We're gonna be here again. Yeah. If you don't pay attention and see the difference that you can make, like, are you gonna do that again? You know what I'm saying? Or is it now that I got a problem because now I'm asking too much? Because it is a lot to do, but I do it. We do. It gets done.
It gets done.
It gets done.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
And so I think for us men specifically, you know,
interesting.
Because that was my point showing you that is because I see how us as men, like, it's easy for us to see examples in social media of people talking and giving us advice that's really rooted in like this box thinking, right? Like, I'm a man, so I don't really. You gotta.
Well, to me, that was sugar candy.
You gotta talk to me straight. I gotta give the exactly. I don't know. You gotta.
Like,
talk
he
to
was
me.
trying to, like he was
bro.
using a moment where he faltered, and then he was trying to throw some sugar on and make it sweet. So everybody's like, "Yo, the same shit happened to me, bro. Ain't that annoying? Yo, bitches is annoying, bro."
Because
like,
she could have just told me.
It was like, you know,
she could have just told me to put in the
temptation
Tupperware
to get you. But now, where I like to look at a man to a man, right? You fucking him? No, you fucking your shorty, right? So why you over here linked up with him about how we fucked up wrong, right? You want your shorty to be happy, right? So go ahead and put that Tupperware down. It don't make no sense to me. And we over here like, it's so weird. It's so weird. Go instead and go and make sure your shorty's happy. It's weird. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. It's very selfish. Whereas like, man, we have things that we like. You know what I'm saying? We have things that we like and things that we want it to be done. And I imagine that women are out here probably doing that shit for us quietly. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they should do it a little bit more loud. You know what I mean? Be a little bit more loud about that. But again, right, that's what in the Bible it says that you don't be out here doing people favors and telling them about it, because that's like the opposite. Yo, by the way, you know what I'm saying? You didn't say nothing, but I made your bed. You ain't noticed and shit like that. So I'm doing shit for recognition. It's different. So it's a tricky thing that we're dealing with here.
Well, that's why, you know, with all this, that's why it's like, it's not that it's wrong that these things exist, right? It's important to also look at it from the bigger picture, you know, not just take everything at like what we say face value. So being, you know, oftentimes I know like we like to find media that speaks to us. So of course you will find videos like the one we just played. And like, if it speaks to you, it speaks to you, and you're running with it. But again, like to Rob's point, like this, if you're gonna address relationships, understand that relationships is about like the person you are in a relationship with.
Two
right?
people, man.
So communicating
balance.
About what is happening, being clear about what is happening, discussing it amongst yourselves clearly, being vulnerable again, which is something that is hard for us as men to do, but it is required, man. It is required if you want to actually have like these loyal, trusting, and loving relationships, right?
Yo, and it's not gonna not be a headache, y'all. Y'all break my heart when every time y'all in a relationship with somebody, I love them, and she gets to be a headache. Y'all abandoning them, man. It breaks my heart, y'all. A lot of y'all have like a lot of potential to be something good, and just this shit gets to be a fucking headache, and y'all give up. And you gotta look at yourself and check the hypocrisy in that. When things become a headache and somebody is not what you love, look at how you treat them and talk about them. So you could just reflect on yourself and see like really who like where's the nastiness at? You know what I mean? Like, where's the love at in that? I mean, you want to love somebody and love them through the thick and thin, and even if they did something nasty to you, we don't got to talk about that. You deal with it how you deal with it. You move on. We don't go there again. You know what I mean? But we don't got to like keep throwing mud on each other. A lot of us get mad when we deal with something bad in somebody else, and we just gotta like make sure we never deal with it again. But that's not how this relationship works, man. That's just not how this life is. And look at that. Look at you. Think about how God would feel about himself if God is out here and all God's creatures were out here looking at the world like this shit ain't perfect. You know what I mean? Like this world, you know, it could be better. You know what I mean? Like, things could be better. You don't think God feels unappreciated? You don't think that would feel like if you know what I'm saying? Like, you think consciousness of everything around you sound ungrateful. It don't sound like love. You know, it sounds conditional. I think we all got a lot of conditional love that we need to check ourselves.
That's another thing I think we did address some, I think on Monday, as far as like
fatherhood.
Also,
What?
No, but also how men view relationships as conditional and transactional.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I think it's important that we remove ourselves from that thinking that relationships are transactional, right? Like, I give you something, I'm giving you this, so of course you got to give me that, like, or I'm not gonna give you nothing unless you give me something, right? And I think moving away from this is very important, especially for men, again, because I think we tend to think of ourselves as the logic species, right? The logical species, and so with that comes with like this very much hard, like direct, like, you know, XYZ kind of 1 + 1 = 2 thinking when it comes to relationships, knowing that like when it comes to human relationships, there's all there's complexities involved, there's gray area, and we have to be okay with that, and we have to be okay with like things unfolding as they are, and not relying so much on like, I'm not gonna give you something unless you give me something. I'm only gonna be a provider to this family if only they give me this. But are you a provider or not? You know, are you gonna give to your family or not? Are you gonna give your labor, your love to those who you call family or not? Whether they're gonna give you something.
And shit,
So,
ask them too, man. Sometimes y'all be out here like you, even if like
and I think that's even more.
Ask them what they want, right? Yeah, ask them what they need. So, you know what I'm saying? What do you need me to provide for you right now? So
I do think that there's that road for improving mental health and men specifically our mental health. And then I think one thing that I will add, and then I'm curious to hear your thoughts, is as far as action is just really taking our times to throughout the years of our lives that we get to live, because I think another thing is that men have a shorter life expectancy than women.
Yeah,
is to engage in activities like that we traditionally call self-care. So for men, that could be resting. So I know men oftentimes our thing is work, and so choosing to rest and actually taking rest days, exercising. I think engaging our physical bodies and engaging our physical bodies in ways that are beyond our limits. Like so, I know yoga and Pilates, for example. I just bring those up because traditionally those aren't viewed as like manly kind of
jogging, man. Go for a run.
Exercises, but jogging is still considered kind of like manly. But like what I'm referring to is like, you know,
unisex
and like do things that kind of like expand the ways that your body can move and feel. Right, dancing. I think dancing comes up a lot for me because I think I see less of it.
Yeah, men don't move their body like that, right? So that's what I'm saying. See, running and walking feels like unisex.
Is a great way to kind of express yourself. A great way to release a lot of tension and the stuff that we feel, a lot of the depression. And so I will say that we need to do better. Also,
that man box is getting to me because I haven't moved in a while too, bro.
I think engaging our minds also in ways that are more on the creative and imaginary side than just the knowledge side. Because again, I know that there's men who's like, oh, I'm working on my mental health because I read a lot of books, and half the times those books are like very serious, very research heavy books. I do think there needs to be balance when it comes to like if we're trying to take care of our mental health, where, you know, engage in stuff that's more about being creative, more about tapping into your imaginary mind, not
for sure.
Like the very serious political like shit. Like you could be reading books, but if they're all political, they're all biographies, they're all sad. I don't know. To me, I'm like,
yeah, that's not balanced. Even this, bro, we want to talk about serious shit and want to like, but I don't want this to be.
You may want. I don't want
this to get to no man bashing. A little bit more,
you know what I mean, comfortable. And of course, if that's something that I think folks want to see us provide more, we will definitely start bringing that forth, to the platform.
Games and shit.
Because I know games, but just like even, you know, because I'm bringing up like, don't just read the serious shit. Read like cool stuff, or read stuff that challenges your imagination. So like what is an example of something that might challenge your imagination? Is what I'm referring to. But yeah,
right.
Because again, I think going back to what are some things that I would like to see at least more men engage in. I just named a couple of those.
Right.
But going back, like I think what are some of the things I think as it relates to men's mental health, and as we're moving forward.
Yeah. See that.
Hopefully we get to do this 1 year from now and kind of look back to see like what's changed, right? Like what do you think? What are some things you think you want to see, or think will help men improve our mental health?
So again, well, listen, you gotta start with yourself. Check yourself, right? So one thing I'm trying to do that I've been failing for like it's been 3 weeks. Get to the groups, man. Like I've been trying to give myself grace and realize that I'm also that this is a group. You know, this is something here, and remind myself like there is something being done here that perhaps I'm just not ready there. but sometimes I judge myself like heavy because I'm like, nah, but that'd have been good. Like, why didn't I go? Even if, you know what I'm saying, you just weren't up to it. I think men could do that a lot more. Because I sometimes see men reach out to me, and it's easier to do it on the top, you know what I'm saying, application, Instagram and everything else, you know what I'm saying? But to actually meet in person, you know what I'm saying, it's difficult. I've been noticing that. I've been trying to be vocal when I meet out with people, but then I'm noticing that it's interesting as you when you out the rut, you can see them when someone's in the rut. But see, one of the issues with me was I was never in a rut that I addressed. So, you know what I'm saying, when everyone else was in a rut, I was just looking mad naive and like oblivious and insincere, like, yeah, I mean, like, but now I see it. So I think they could do that and shame less, because shame is a big thing that we don't even need anybody to do that for us. We do that to ourselves. So the more conscious of how you shame others that you can be, and like just don't, you know, it's so bad. Like just the littlest drop, it's like oil, it'll fuck this whole shit up. So it's like if you could shame a lot less, and I mean in the very small, minute ways. Like even if you think you're doing right, like one time I had it where I was failing, right, to communicate. At least I thought I was communicating well. Yeah. But I was just failing to show up, right? And I thought I was communicating well, that I wasn't able to show up. I wasn't gonna show up. But what was happening was that still, regardless, you are communicating well, but still, regardless, it bothers this person. Like they miss you. They want you to show up, and now I can't show up though. But so now I had to deal with feeling guilt and shame in that, because they were upset at me. And this person spoke to me in the sense of like, here you go again. Like, this is just what it is. You know, just let me know when you're ready to chill. And it hurt, because it was like, damn, like, I do understand where you're coming from, but I also don't feel that I'm being loved through it, like of my faults. Like, I'm not showing up for you, okay. Never made sense to me. But that shame was something that I had to battle so that it doesn't feed something negative and keep me from this thing that could actually be good. Think about that. Well, I had to get through, like, you just miss me, but the way you're talking to me makes me feel that you're missing me in a selfish way, that now I don't even want to show up for you because you're not loving me and showing up for me right now. I'm trying to show up for myself. You know what I mean? But then it becomes, look at how sticky that gets. So I had to see through that and just let that go. But what I could say, that if I could see more in men, because I'm talking about me, this was between another man, you know, I just had to know that. I had to know that, damn, that's crazy. Like, I can't be in my emotions right now because this is a cycle. I've been here before, but this sucks. I'm just going to eat this, be like, all right, you're right. But listen, you know, I don't know how many times I have to, you know, I just started communicating through those emotions and not making it about that. You know what I'm saying? Not really through those emotions, but I just felt the emotions and I navigated to the point of like, what are we talking about here? Connection, right? All right, so that's why I'm going to make sure that the connection's not severed at the end of this. We're going to have all our emotions, you know what I'm saying? But I'm going to make sure that the connection's still there, because that's the point of this. Sometimes we forget the point. We get mad at each other. So I would say just seeing a lot of men communicate more, stay connected, and shame each other less for when you can't do that. For when you can't do that. Yeah, because it's not going to be easy, bro. We're going to falter a lot.
So I mean, with that being said, bro, I'm good to kind of wrap up here.
Amen. Love.
As we've been on our Friday night.
Yes, sir.
Now we kind of chill some more. You know what I mean?
It's Friday.
We've been running for actually almost 2 hours, by the way.
Love, bro. See that? See that?
Right, it's 1:55. So
love to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all.
It'll be a good closing. I'm probably gonna set up the intermission screen while we wrap up. And
play some ALBYBEATZ.
Yeah. And then we'll be done for the stream, y'all. That's a Friday night. Thanks for those who was tuning in.
This episode is sponsored by IMPROMPTU.
Thank you, Mr. Hegan.
So, thank everybody. Peace, and we're done out of here.
Love.
Set up